Going.
So we're gonna interview my dad, Steve Brown, in a day in the life of a career interview. So what are your main tasks or responsibilities for being a pastor?
Yeah, I lead a Christian organization that trains pastors, and what I do as I lead that organization is I work with our board of directors to make sure the organization is headed in the right direction and doing all we can to accomplish what we need to do as an organization. I also seek to raise funds to help pay for what we do, and so it doesn't cost pastors all that it costs us to do what we need to do. What it costs the ministry. And I also work a lot with pastors, so I teach them, mentor them, encourage them, anything we can do to help them do the important work that they do.
Great. Okay. So what kind of education, training, or other preparation do you need to get into this career?
Yeah, so I went through university and I did a bachelor's degree in business, and that was really good training because I learned how to solve problems and how businesses work, and a lot of those same things about solving problems and how businesses work apply to any career you get into. So it was a great foundation. And then I went to seminary where I did a Master of Divinity to learn more about the Bible and more about theology and church history and how to be a pastor. And then I served in pastoral ministry in the local church for a while. And then I went through the Arrow Leadership Program, which is the organization I oversee, and it was very practical training that I could do while I was still pastoring every week in the local church. And then I did a doctoral degree in Christian leadership. So that's the path I've followed school-wise.
Cool. Alright. So how did you get into this career?
Yeah, I never would have thought it. Never would have expected it. Because when I was at business school, I thought I was going to be a businessman, a lawyer, and a politician. And I was really wanting to pursue lots of money. And in the midst of that, God changed my heart in a bunch of ways and stirred in me a desire to help people. And one of the ways I thought I might be able to help people was as a youth pastor, that I could help young people who'd been through difficult times growing up know about God. And that's how I got started, and that's what led me to seminary.
Great. Alright. What personal characteristics and skills do you think are required for someone to be successful in this career?
Yeah, so a pastor needs to obviously love God and be loved by God and allow God to love them so that overflows in your life. And I think a pastor also has to have a desire to serve other people and to serve God. Pastor should be a leader, especially if they're the main pastor. So a servant leader and a person of good character, because without good character, you're going to get into trouble in any career, but particularly being a pastor. And being a good communicator would be another one. So those are some attributes.
Cool. Have any recent changes affected your career? What changes can you foresee in the future?
Yeah, so pastoral ministry is changing a lot because our world around us is changing a lot. There's so many things that are changing so fast. So for pastors, there's lots of moral issues or societal issues that are changing. If you think about truth or life issues or moral issues or sexuality, those are all changing and what people think. But the pastor's job is really to not go with what people think, but to help what God says connect with those people. So there's lots to do for pastors these days.
What do you dislike most about this career? Or what are the greatest stresses or challenges?
Yeah, the greatest challenges of being a pastor can be expectations that you think other people have for you or that you have for yourself. And sometimes those expectations, or they even think that God has for you. And sometimes those expectations make you kind of this driven person, willing to sacrifice even your own health or your family to do what you think you're supposed to be doing. So those are some of the pressures, expectations, I think. But a lot of those aren't coming from God or other people. Most of those are things we can sometimes put on ourselves.
Cool. What do you like most about this career?
Love seeing people's lives change. Love seeing people hear and learn about God, and to see them grow closer to Him and have a bigger vision of who He is, and to see how that changes people's lives, how that changes people's marriages and families, and how it has a ripple effect around the world.
Right. What are some specific ways your faith, values, and/or morals influence you in this career?
Yeah, well, I think every career has a faith component to it, because all work is important to God. So being a pastor, obviously you get to talk about God as part of your work. You get to pray as part of your work. You get to learn about God as part of your work. Sometimes that can actually be hard because you're feeling sometimes you're forced to do it, and it's not just part of your normal life. Sometimes you can miss what God says in the Bible because you're thinking about how do I speak about that on Sunday or something. So faith is obviously a key part of being a pastor, and that's fantastic, but it can also be challenging sometimes too.
Right. What is the impact of this career on family life?
Yeah, so pastors are out a lot of nights doing meetings, and Sundays and weekends are sometimes full of church stuff. And sometimes pastors don't take 2 days off in a row, like Friday or Saturday and Sunday. Most people would take off. So sometimes pastors are working on Sundays and sometimes Saturdays too. So pastors really have to work at carving time out of their schedules to make sure that they have family time and rest time. Otherwise, sometimes it's gone. So that's one big challenge.
Cool. What words of wisdom do you have for someone who wants to get into this career?
Mm-hmm. Well, words of wisdom. It's a calling from God, so you want to be sure that God wants you to do this, and I think it's a great opportunity, but and something you should try. Take baby steps and see if it feels like God's calling you to do it. So, volunteering with your youth group, doing mission trips. Doing maybe a summer experience or a gap year where you spend a year on mission, or doing an internship at a church. Those are all great ways to get your foot in the door and to see if it's for you.
Sure. Well, thank you for giving your time for this interview.